Creating a strategy. Many of us in business have a clear vision of what it is that we want to achieve in the future. We have a certain degree of clarity about our objectives and how we're going to deliver that vision. But what we lack, perhaps, is a thoroughly thought-through strategic plan. And before you can create a strategic plan, it's worthwhile considering the 5 elements of strategic thinking. Here they are. First of all, arena. And that means in which area of the market are we going to be active? What is our arena for doing business? Think about what product and service you're going to offer to organizations. Think about what market segments you're going to sell into. Which geographic areas are you going to operate in? Which core technologies are you going to embrace? What value creation offerings are you going to make to your customers that will differentiate you? So be very clear on the business you're in and the business you're not in, and what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be focusing on, and where. So that's the arena. Next, consider vehicles for growth. That simply means, how are you going to best achieve your growth aspirations? So you might want to consider organic growth and development. Or you might want to consider joint ventures with other organizations to spread the load and speed the growth into the future. You could also consider a licensing or franchising way of operating, good for reproducing a solid core business in other geographies or locations. You might want to grow by acquisition, and that could be both aggressive acquisition or acquisition over a period of time, where essentially you are buying the market share. Or you might want to grow by mergers. Any of those are possibles. Think through which in particular is your most favored strategy, and perhaps what others you could bring into the mix. So that's what we mean by the vehicle for growth. The third element to consider is what we would call differentiators. Now, by differentiators, we mean, what is it that will make you stand out in the market? And that might be image. You enable people to create an image around them with your product or service. You are fashionable to deal with. It may be a high degree of customization that almost purpose builds things for people to their specification. It might be price, and that could be the highest priced and the most premium player, or the lowest price. The issue is price and value for money. Styling might be an issue. The fact that you can, with your brand, produce a style that stands out in the market and people want to embrace. Or it could be your product reliability, the fact that your product works extremely well and is long-term, efficient and effective. The fourth key element to consider is that of the economic logic. In other words, how are you going to make money in the best way? Now, that can be through a number of methodologies. The first might be through the lowest costs and scale advantages. Price the product low and sell high volumes of it. It might be lowest costs through your ability to replicate your product or service. Speed of replication then becomes a big issue. It might be that you go for a premium price offering because of your unmatchable service. And finally, it might be that you have a premium price due to the proprietary product features, the fact that you own the copyright, the intellectual capital, and there is only your product on the market, will give you an enormous competitive advantage. And finally, of course, there's staging. And by staging, we mean how fast are you wanting to implement your strategy? What's the speed of expansion? What's the sequence of initiatives? And over what time frames? So, by considering the 5 key elements of your arena in which you're going to operate, your best vehicle for growth, the key differentiators for your business, the economic logic, and the staging of your expansion, you will have in place the basics of a good and solid strategic plan to bring you long-term success.